Coming to you live and direct, it's the one and only Hiawatha the P-Boy, aka P King Diablo, out here in the shine this winter storm. Yeah. Stay warm out here. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. You know, a lot of you feel cooped up and, claustrophobic. Been in your house doing this pandemic, this COVID, Vietnam, you was 19, that situation. You've been cooped up and you're feeling real claustrophobic. Which remind me of the time I went to Pontiac Correctional Center. Which at the particular time, the whole institution was solitary confinement. It was notorious, known for bug zone. Yeah, what I mean by bug zone? Oh man, them cells are driving individuals crazy, man. Yeah. But I remember before I went to Pontiac Correctional Center, I was in a law library. I was sitting talking to an individual, just for the sake of not naming names. I'm gonna call this individual Charles. He was one of the best legal minds on the inmate convict side in the institution. Yeah, this institution was Graham Correctional Facility. And this particular individual, Charles, he was one of the most astute minds as far as law was concerned. He was getting guys back and forth to court, overturning their conviction and different things of that nature. And I guess he was a teacher's aide as well. He was an aide to a female teacher, and I guess, his charm overwhelmed her, where they had an affair, allegedly. Well, anyway, they were caught, allegedly, and Charles, just for the sake of, giving him a name, Charles ended up going to Pontiac Correctional Facility. And I'm like, when I heard about it, because the brother was sharp. He was a sharp mind as far as the law was concerned. He was getting guys back and forth to court. I was, doing my own appeal. So, it was just a mutual respect for an individual that knew the law so well. But Charles got himself caught up with an affair with a female teacher. He ended up, getting caught. And the female teacher, I guess she broke under pressure and told, the institution that, her and Charles had an affair. So he ended up going to Pontiac Correctional Facility. And when everybody heard about it, like, man, he going to Pontiac. Pontiac, man, don't nobody want to go to Pontiac, man. You hear me? So I didn't know a year later I'll be going to Pontiac. I end up, caught up in a institutional riot, mob action, etc., etc. I end up going to Pontiac. So for those who know, Logan Correctional Facility was the transport station for individuals who getting transferred from institution to institution as far as the Illinois correctional facilities are concerned. So I was on the Graham bus. We ended up going to Logan to transfer to the Pontiac bus. Who do I see getting off the Pontiac bus? You guessed it, Charles. He done did his year stint in solitary confinement. So when I see the brother, now before he left, he had the little, shaped up afro. When he get off that bus, man, he had aged about 20, 30 years. He had gray all through his afro. He was shaking like he had Parkinson's. As I say, this was a sharp-minded brother, man. He was one of the most sharpest legal minds in Graham. He was getting guys back and forth. Everybody that was trying to get on the pill that wasn't handling their own affairs, trying to get back in court for their affairs, they was going to Charles. But Charles get off that bus shaking like a 57 Chevy. Yeah. Pontiac had tore his ass up. Excuse my language. Most people think, oh man, I don't want to go to this joint. I don't want to go to that joint. Them guys down there dangerous. But let me tell you something. There's nothing more fearful as far as incarceration than being in solitary confinement. And guess who you around 24/7? You around yourself. Oh man, you didn't know the self can be, you didn't know the mind can be that scary, did you, man? You didn't know that mind can be your enemy to that extent, did you? Oh man. Guys going crazy left and right, man. In that cell 24/7, the walls get to closing in. The mind get to playing tricks on you like the ghetto boys say. Yeah, don't nobody want to go to solitary confinement in Pontiac. Yeah. I end up, you know, getting a year in Pontiac. And before I landed in Pontiac, I asked Charles, I say, man, how was it? Cause you know, I'm sitting there, I'm telling myself, oh man, I'm it ain't nothing. So I'm asking Charles, how was it? Man, it's gonna bother you. It's gonna mess with you a little bit. And I know this is a sharp-minded individual. I know this ain't no weak-minded brother. So I'm looking at him, so I'm like, okay. So I get there, guys beating on the door. All before I even get into that, they put me in the cell. I look around, man. I see evidence of, man, I don't know what's going on. Blood all on the walls. A guy got his brains. They had perforated door with the little holes in it. A guy got his brains, you know, piece of his skull stuck in the door. And these individuals that's running this facility, they so savage they haven't even cleaned up behind this individual. This guy looked like he just been running and ramming his head into the door, then lost it. That's what it was. That's what it was, you know. And like I say, most people, when they think of prison, you know, some get fearful thinking of other individuals. But let me tell you something. Those other individuals are a piece of cake compared to the mind and how it plays tricks on you when you're in the room by yourself 24/7. Yeah, when you're in that solitary confinement. And they have done studies on this type of situation, and they know it's illegal, it's inhumane for them to do individuals like that. Guys going crazy left and right, cutting on themselves, you know, just anything you can think about in that cell, you know, losing it. You hear a guy, man, he get to talking about Christ, man. You know, he sound like he got a sound mind. A guy talking about he a Muslim, he talking about Islam, or he talking, you hear a guy on the gallery of the tears that they call him, you know, he talking about his family, you know, or just having a conversation about the females he used to mess with when he was out in society. Then the next day you hear him in there cracking up, he hollering, he's screaming, man. His mind then gave in. Many people out here in society are going through the same thing. You don't have to be locked up to crack up. That's why it's very important that we take care of our minds. That's why it's very important that we know how to calm ourselves down, that we know how to think, that we know how to study and examine ourselves. There are things that we doing out here, man, that, you know, makes our mind weak. We doing drugs. We having too much, you know, interaction out here, you know, sexually. You know, many people don't know sometimes that makes you mentally weak. So when you run into a dilemma, you crack up, or you don't know how to handle it because you've been doing things out here. You've been engaging in, you know, lifestyle activities out here that cause you to be mentally weak. The same thing about those brothers in solitary confinement. They don't know just because you're in that cell by yourself, you can't sit there and fondle yourself all day, because those things make you mentally weak. You have to strengthen your mind. The mind is a terrible thing to waste, man. It can be your enemy or it can be your friend. It's all on you. Like I say, most people, when they think of prison, they get fearful. They get fearful thinking about other individuals. And they don't know. There ain't no enemy like the enemy of self. Yeah, most of us, as we sit back, we can think of, man, the harm that was done to us by others. But we got to be real with ourselves and think about the harm we did to ourselves. Because even though I landed in solitary confinement and those were under inhumane conditions, I placed myself there. I put myself there. I put myself in those inhumane conditions. And over the period of my life, man, I done landed in some fucked up positions, man, that I placed myself in. You know, we got to be thinkers out here, man. We have to stay mentally strong, because once the mind give up, there's nothing left. Yeah, I ain't gonna hold you too long, man. You know, maybe that story can help someone that's going through something out here. And you might feel like giving up, or you might feel like the mind is caving in. But I got news for you. The mind can get weak, but there's a flip side of everything. Just like the mind can get weak, it can get even stronger. Stay strong. Yeah, it's been real. And it's the one and only Peking Diablo, aka Hiawatha P-Bull. And I'm out. 1.